Going live. I think it takes a second. All right. I think we are live.
Okay.
I think we're live. Everybody, whoever's on, let's give it a couple minutes, Mark, as we always like to do, obviously, is wait to see as people filter in. And we will get started at about 11:32. The topic today, everyone, as you're coming in, is culture in business, and what you can do to manage that. As we've been thrown a curveball here with COVID. We want to talk a little bit about that today, how you manage that, and how important culture is to an organization, especially in our marketplace, the small business marketplace. And so we're going to discuss that in a minute here. Give everybody one more minute to come in, and I will start with introductions. All right, let's see. I think we're good. All right, 11:31, 11:32. Let's start. Everybody who's here, who's ever joined, welcome. Today, Jeff Bruno, your outsourced CFO. Been doing this since 2013. Today, my guest here is Marc Coleman. He runs the Tactile Group, which is a software development firm and somewhat of a digital marketing firm. I've been working with Marc since late 2017. Our firm has been working with Marc, and been a great client of ours, and we've helped him along in many ways, and we're very excited to have him join us today on FigScore Network and our YouTube channel. So welcome, Marc.
Pleasure to be here.
So before we get started, let me just bring up a topic that I want to say in general about business. So, look, business these days, more and more, in my humble opinion, is really centered around, especially small business, is centered around the infinite gain. Business is an infinite gain, meaning if you think as a business owner in finite constructs, quarter, month, so on and so forth, you might be moderately successful, you might be okay. But business is ever changing. So it's an infinite game. And in that, what we tend to recommend to owners as we're engaged with them is, what is your why? Where are you headed? Keeping in mind that you're going to have to consistently change and goal set and BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal. Maybe you have to reset that goal as you're going because it's ever changing. And the reason I bring that up is, there are some business owners who think about profit only, and they don't consider employees, they don't consider culture, things like that, and ultimately have issues with that as their business scales. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is that infinite mindset. And along with that, with businesses, there comes a lot of like a just cause. What am I doing this for? Why am I doing this? What am I helping within the marketplace? And so on and so forth. So Those are the overriding topics, and I want Marc to just briefly introduce himself, about his company, and tell what his just cause is as we start into this today.
Please. Sure. So my name is Marc Coleman. I'm the founding president, CEO, and at one time chief cook and bottle washer at the Tactile Group. We develop software primarily for the public sector, specifically the U.S. Department of Education. We've also done a lot of work with the city of Philadelphia, including the International Airport website. Our mission basically states that we're designed to give a damn. We actively seek out work whose end goal is to improve the improve the quality of life for all people. So that takes many different forms. It takes a form in the types of clients we choose to work with. It takes the form of how we treat and engage our communities, and it also takes the form of how we treat and engage our staff. So there's a kind of a guiding principles around how we operate. So I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah, that's great. That's really great. And so before we dig into all those specifics about culture, Marc, I wanted to throw you a little bit of a question here.
Okay.
So you are a certified minority-owned business. You're a Black owner. You're an LGBT,
Mhm.
and there are major things going on in the world this year around those topics. And so my question to you is, how has that changed your focus in what you're doing as a CEO for your company in the world, as well as within your internal culture?
It's kind of just accelerated the timeline. I mean, we've always wanted to do this kind of work that's being really needed right now, around equity, around um, around ending systemic racism. We're doing a lot more of that work. I'm doing that, trying to do that work in the nonprofits that I serve. I'm the head of the DEI committee for the Chamber of Commerce. I recently stepped down from the board of the Independence Business Alliance, which is the gay chamber. So the murder of George Floyd, the what's going on in the Supreme Court with the rights of LGBT folks, those things are always in my mind for having those intersectional identities. So they've always kind of guided what kind of work we want to do. It's just accelerated the timeline. I don't think it's really structurally changed us much. It's just made things more imperative than ever.
Yeah, yeah. These days, it really is. I mean, you could. What was it? 2015 with Hodges when they passed the right for marriage, wasn't that it? 2015.
2015.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, things are changing, and it's even more clear today that that's an important factor, and it has to be recognized in our businesses as well. So,
absolutely,
I appreciate that you're doing that. I want to now jump back to sort of the beginning. And what I mean by the beginning is when you and I and our business and our firms came together. So it was in 2017. We were brought in by PIDC, Philadelphia Industrial Development Corporation, that helps local businesses with loan constructs. We were brought in actually to help Marc and his company from a financial level. He was struggling. He
lightly. 2017 was a bad year. let's not mince any words about that. It was terrible.
So yeah, but the point was that Marc was really struggling, and he didn't know where to turn, and we sort of took that financial stress off his back, so Marc could focus on culture, business development, reorganizing his business to accelerate out of that process. So while we took that pressure off of him, Marc really took it on himself to bring his business back from the brink of having a major issue. And so, that financial stress was put all on the team and on Marc and everything. It was very, very palatable. And we came in there, and I said to Marc, I sat down with him and I said, listen, Marc, you're telling me your culture is strong. I love that because that's a good thing. But here's the deal. You're in such a predicament here that you got to let a couple people go that aren't performing, and you're probably going to have to cut salaries, maybe 30%. You could possibly defer them, but you're going to have to cut immediately because you're a labor business. So I had that conversation, and Marc, where did we go with that?
I mean, that was one of the hardest conversations I've ever had to have about the business, because it was like either do this and have something for folks to come back to or have a business at all, or not do it and just complete the flush process, because we were already circling the bowl. But it was like you were like, if we do cut your staff 30%, will they stay? I said, I'm pretty sure they will, as long as we have a very clear path towards how we're going to get back on track, and we meet the metrics and we communicate with them clearly. So we took this proposal to them, and we did cut some two underperforming people. One left on their own, but everybody else stayed through the entire process till we got back on their feet. And I don't think that I know it wouldn't have been possible right then in that economy with if folks didn't feel like there was something at Tactile worth belonging to as a work family. Not really kumbaya, but there's something at Tactile that was where they felt valued, and they felt that they were respected, and they felt that when things turned around, they would things would be as they are now. So
yeah. And I agree even more with that, because actually in 2017 the economy was still humming along, so people could have gotten other jobs. I mean, the demand was huge, and they stayed. So
I did.
it shows even more about how culture kept those people. And I mean, you turned the corner massively in just 1 year, if I remember correctly. So that was a huge part of it, is your employees staying involved.
Well, I mean, and we couldn't have done that without you. We really could not have done it without
Thank
your
you.
team.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And then furthering that, so more on like getting through that and then moving forward with employees, clients, so on and so forth, fitting with your design to give a damn kind of like mantra. So a positive work culture affects employees, but it also affects clients.
Sure.
They see that, they feel that in your approach, right? So are there any red flags in your process that you do when you're interviewing to hire an employee or interviewing a client for a best fit type of scenario?
Sure. So let's take the hire first, because I mean, what we've had to do in pivoting our onboarding during this time of growth and during COVID, um, we had to really look at our process and make sure that the people we were hire on were a definite culture fit. So if I had to point to one question in our entire process that I really look at carefully, is how you handled how the client, how the interviewee has handled a difficult process in their career, and if at any point there's like they show a lack of empathy by, oh well, it was somebody else's fault, or they throw somebody under the bus, or I did everything I was supposed to do. The part where I see a lack of empathy is like, no, we're not going to be able to. They're not going to be a valuable part of our team, because that is the core of every person personality trait. I mean, I want to see empathy in every person on the team, because
Okay.
if you cannot have empathy for other people on your team, you can't work collaboratively in the way that we need to. Same thing is kind of similar on the client side. Some clients as we've grown and we're doing larger projects, we have certainly had opportunity to work with larger organizations
Yeah.
as teaming partners, and for other parts of bringing solutions to our to other clients. What we found is that if in some of these initial meetings with some of these giant corporations, the kind of culture that you see in their organization, where you should be really happy to be speaking with this giant multi-billion-dollar company,
Right.
and you just clear your schedule and we'll just give you a date to. It's like, no, their lack of communication on their own team, and the kind of sort of jockeying for position. You can see these things in these initial kind of meetings, and and really quick, we're like, this is not going to be. We're not going to be able to team with these folks, because they're just too different. Sometimes they're just focused on that profit. They're just focused on one thing, and they're not really looking at making a good relationship. So again, in interviewing clients, I need to see a sort of camaraderie, a kind of back and forth, a certain
Yeah.
ability to listen and take our advice. Because we're not we're the experts at what we do, but we don't know your business. So we need to know that there's going to be an open channel of communication and collaboration. If we don't see that, it's not going to be a fit as a client.
And you had one, not to name names, but you had a recent scenario, a bid where it didn't seem like there was a fit, also because you thought they were just trying to fill some quota, right?
Yeah. I mean, we are certified, right? We know,
Yeah.
I'm very specific about using certifications as and also right. We do exceptionally good work, right? If there's a deciding factor between a diverse led company like mine, excuse me, or non-diverse ones, I want it to be the determining factor. What I've seen recently in a specific example, they and I know the companies are looking for DVs in specific,
Sure.
and I think that's a great process, but by the way they're asking the questions, they have to check that box off instead of looking for a really good company that they can
And you
really
can
work
tell.
well with.
Yeah.
You can tell, and that's not a situation at this point in the development of the company that that I would really want to be involved with. I mean, there are other reasons for that. We decide not to work with that possible teaming partner. Giant corporation would have been cool, but we
Totally.
decided not to work with them because they were checking off a box. The culture fit wasn't there.
Right.
The communications were jacked up. And funnily enough, there was a lack of professionalism, lack of professional consideration. So just because the client seems great on paper, especially the type of work we do, it's a marriage. You got to walk a lockstep, and it's a partnership. In order to get the work done, it's a partnership.
But see, that's an important piece right there. I think sometimes small business owners, Mark, miss that, and that's why we're talking about this in a forum here. It's really important sometimes to have that partnership structure. That's what we offer. That's what you offer too. Even though we're doing very specific financial and software development, it's all about the partnership because we're trying to get stuff done to better the company.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what we're doing. So I have the same problem with clients too. We had a client situation where the CEO just wasn't responding and just thought we were the help. And so we ended the engagement. We said, look, we're not the help. We're a partner. We're here to, and you and I and our firm have been partners through this, but that's an example. Like there has to be that. Otherwise it's not a good client. And then you have a culture problem with your organization probably as well to fit that.
Yeah, exactly. And the price of that is if you bring in a client that's going to make everybody aggravated and upset and, and just cause them headaches and agitation and delays and spending extra time on this, that's going to affect your own culture, right? I mean,
it affects your bottom line.
It does. It does. Back to money again. You always get the money.
I mean, come on, the finance guy, right?
Yeah, that you should be thankful on. That's what you should be on. But yeah.
Cool. So let me now flip the script a little. So in the sense of we've all been thrown COVID. I find this is a problem. Like you and I are both very, outgoing personalities as CEOs. You are, stop it. And so keeping culture relevant is hard when you're in person in a company. So how are you managing to keep that going in this more virtual environment, which we are both fully virtual at this point still? So how do you do that?
Well, I mean, we've done some of the things that like a lot of folks are doing. I mean, we start out, we have a theme day for our monthly or daily stand-up call. That's actually, I should back up to that. We do a daily stand-up call at 15 minutes every morning, everybody in the company on screen, what they did yesterday, what they're doing today, where they're going to challenges. We're 25.
And you'd still do that, right?
Mm-hmm. It only takes about 20 minutes because it becomes very quick after a while.
That's awesome.
And even in the stand-ups, there's, there is time for like interaction. And I'm going to have to check out off of Slack today at about 3:00 because my vacation's starting. I'm going to the beach. What beach? We just have this kind of conversation. And then at the end, we have this good of the order thing, so people can just kind of throw stuff out. But we also, have done themed days, T-shirt Tuesdays, coffee mug Mondays, fur baby Fridays, which have come and gone. Yeah, they're pets. So I mean, but most of these folks are trying to, one guy has 3 golden retrievers, so trying to keep them in the frame. It didn't work so well. So so those have come and gone. But we also have done lunch hours. But what's really kind of stuck is we do a happy hour once every other week. Do a few trivia questions, and it's fun. Yeah, and we use this thing called Kahoot, where you can design your own Kahoot. It's an app. I think it's free to a certain size. You can design your own little trivia. People can obviously it's all remote, and you get a score at the end. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah. I got to tell my team, Chris, if you're watching this webinar, Kahoot. Let's do that.
I just like to say it, Kahoot.
Cool. Those are some neat ideas that you're doing there.
Sure.
So along that same topic of personal connection. So, sometimes, you can cross the line as a CEO, you got to be careful, especially these days, you got to be very careful about that personal line with people. And so how do you, keep the work culture going without sacrificing that work culture and staying within those boundaries of what people are comfortable with? You mentioned a little of it, but like maybe
Sure.
some examples of how that happens.
Sure. So one of the other things we do is once a month, both myself and my COO check in with everybody else in staff. Usually, it's about a 5 to 7 minute phone call or Zoom, Meet, whatever,
Yeah.
video conference, and we have 5 questions we ask everybody. How are they doing? Is everybody? Do you have everything you need? Can the team do anything more for you? Do you have any other questions or suggestions? And with those questions, which are, I think that they're very professional from a very professional lens, but people tend to share as much as they're comfortable about where the challenges are. And again, knowing that and having that kind of culture around knowing that we have an open dialogue and a kind of very transparent sort of um, checking on how people are doing, we can apply our resources and efforts to help the team out in different ways. All right. So keeping those monthly check-ins to 5 questions and allowing people to share openly at any time has helped me feel more connected to the folks I only see, 2 by 2 on my screen 3 times a day.
Yeah, and you're able to do that with 25 people. Where do you think that's
Mm-hmm.
going to cap out for you, where you have to start putting like managers in place under that? Do you think
30.
30?
The next 5.
Pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll still be able to do. I mean, I'll do this. Senior, I mean, the mid tier manager certainly, and then a few of the other staff that I want to kind of. I already have a connection with, and they kind of can give me a better pulse of what's going on the ground than I can from the tiny little C-suite I'm in.
Sure.
But it will have to be dispersed to a certain extent as we scale. But that just means we have to kind of write it into the organization. We have to engender that kind of care and that kind of process. Exactly.
Okay. And then on that same topic, when you see a productivity decrease of an employee, and you or your manager or somebody instinctively knows, oh, they're getting divorced, or something's going on there.
Sure.
Personally, that's disrupting them. Without outright coming to them and say, hey, take some time, this is going on. How do you approach that?
Well, actually, we don't see it's the other way around. We see something going on in their life, and we might see a decrease in productivity. We generally know.
Oh, you're ahead of it, really?
We're ahead of it, yeah, because of constant communication. So, we've had issues where some employees have had stuff in their personal life going on, but they were open with us and telling us about it, and we were able to flex their work schedule. Figure out different kind of working arrangements for them because again, this open door policy, we're able to flex around and folks, people are equitably compensated, but the work can shift around and people's lives can be accommodated because they're able to talk to us about what's going on in their lives.
That's good. So you flex work scenarios like that, which is really, really important. And that sort of leads into the next question is, you have this very positive work culture that, if you can explain a little how it sort of helps you achieve company milestones, and ultimately, of course, back to the bottom line, that will hopefully improve your bottom line with that too. But what's the key piece there that does that?
So the empathy that I want to see in every employee, and also the kind of diverse perspectives that I'm looking for on every kind of piece. That whole collaboration mentality means that people want to help each other and things go a lot faster. I mean, imagine the opposite of this. You have a bunch of folks who are working on a project that can't stand each other, right?
Right.
They want to have all the successes for themselves, but they also don't want to share in the struggles. So they silo themselves in their work product, and things go slower. They're not willing to share newer and innovative ideas with each other in real time, or in whatever this counts as for real time where we're in right now.
Sure.
So yeah, we are also able to be very honest about, I know y'all biz dev folks, and we're getting better at this. You biz dev folks told us that told the client that it will only cost us this many hours, but it's going to cost us this many hours. We're fixing that. We're definitely fixing that problem. But the question then becomes, okay, now how do we solve it? How do we kind of flex everything else around? And we work through that. Hold on one second. Ron. Okay. Sorry. Someone's at the door. Life.
I get it. That's what happens these days constantly. So bottom line is it's all about collaboration.
Absolutely.
It's all about collaboration, and your team is part of that joint collaboration, which allows you to flex around, hit milestones, improve your bottom line, improve what we like to call in the financial world the utility of your staff, because you're a direct organization. So improve that utility, which is really what drives your profit. I mean, drives your gross profit, but ultimately drives the profit of your organization. I mean, if you're a $4 or $5 million organization, you get a few points of utility, you could be talking about a couple $100,000 more of profit. So it's big numbers. So that's what we always emphasize with our clients all the time is, really dig into what's going on in your business, because if your team, there's so much more cost in people leaving and then coming back in to train them. And then there's this problem and it distracts the senior manager from that project. And it's just so much productivity issues that we always say, try to keep your people, not the bad performers, obviously, but try to keep your people. It's just so much better. So
that's why the onboarding and process is so important to make, especially now, especially as we're scaling. If we get one bad person on, or a person makes it through our kind of multi-staged safeguard, implicit bias informed onboarding process, then it's going to take us a year to recover from that. And by the time the 3 months is over and they're crap, and then we have to find somebody else, we can't make that mistake. We just don't have the luxury.
Right. That's it. So that's a cautionary tale for people here. And as we're wrapping up, if there are questions from anybody on the YouTube channel or anywhere else, please ask them as we're going to head towards the end of this. But that's an important part, Marc, that, business owners tend to forget. They tend to, that's the finite versus the infinite. I like to use that now, right? They think, how do I move this in the next quarter? Oh, I just got to plug these holes. No. You're not thinking multi-year, and you're disrupting stuff that causes a lot of stress on the organization. So it's a really important thing. And, people need to listen to their resources. You consistently listen to us on the finance end, and, we've really helped you, and you've helped us in things like this. And I appreciate all you do. So, just want to see if there are any questions from the people that are on. I shot a text out to people to see if there are anything. No questions, it looks like, Marc. But I appreciate your time today. Thanks for taking the time.
Of course, man.
And hope everyone got a small tidbits of a guy. Everyone, please, who's still on, a guy who knows how to run the culture of a business. Trust me. So if you have any questions and you'd like to talk to Marc, hit me up. We'll connect. And thanks, everybody. Marc, thank you.
Absolutely. It's a great time.
All right. Have a good day, guys.
Bye-bye. Oh, Jerry's saying something.
Did he ask something? Jerry, as we're closing, he said, Marc. That's it.
That's my name.
I know Jerry very well. He's a great guy, Marc. You should probably connect you with him too. He does a lot of website stuff. So I'll connect you guys.
Sounds great.
All right. Have a good day, everyone.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.